Here in front of me I have the Nikon Z6 III and the Canon EOS R6 Mark III, and they are not only similar in terms of the name, but also in terms of the features and kind of the target audience or target group. So both of them have the newest eye detection option from the respective manufacturer. They have a fast frame rate of 20 or even 40 frames per second. They have a CF Express card slot. They have a very good image quality, even at higher ISO, and also excellent video features, by the way. And with all these features, I think both of them are really good options of full frame all-around cameras for landscape photography, maybe night photography, macro photography, and wildlife photography. But there are also some distinct differences or advantages of each of the models. And if you're already heavily invested in one of the system, I can already tell you, you don't need to watch the video. Both do a very good job, and it's probably not worth jumping ship. However, if you're still shooting with DSLR cameras and want to change into the mirrorless system and also buy a few new lenses to benefit from the mirrorless system, or if you are rather new and want to start with wildlife photography, I hope I can help you a bit with this video. And I want to talk about 4 advantages of the Nikon Z6 III and 4 advantages of the Canon EOS R6 Mark III that I realized in the daily use, and also 2 points that are, I don't know, kind of mood points. They're a bit hard to make a clear winner because it might depend a bit on your preferences which one is better. So let's start with the Nikon Z6 III, and the first thing you realize here when you take the camera to your eye is that the viewfinder is larger and has a higher resolution than the one of the Canon EOS R6 Mark III, and this just makes it, in my opinion, more pleasant to shoot out there. The Z6 III viewfinder is also blackout free, which the Canon EOS R6 viewfinder is not, and that's an almost bigger difference, because it means if you shoot with the electronic shutter, with the Z6 III, you can basically always have a live feed of the image in front of you, whereas with the Canon R6 Mark III you kind of have a slideshow effect of where it shows you all the pictures that it takes, and this makes the tracking a bit trickier. It's also not bad on the Canon, so especially for a bit slower flying birds like maybe some herons, storks, it's no problem at all, even for raptors that are not diving down to get the prey but just cruising around or like flying around, it's not a problem. However, if you are taking pictures of swallows, martins, or other fast flying birds like maybe alpine swifts, the Z6 III has an advantage here. Another thing that I really liked about the Z6 III is the top LCD that you have here, this kind of shoulder display, because I usually photograph with the rear screen flipped in so that it's better protected and it doesn't consume any electricity, and also if I take the camera to the viewfinder, it doesn't need to decide whether it should use the monitor or the viewfinder, it always uses the viewfinder. So a big advantage of the Z6 III here is that you have this shoulder display on top, so I can directly see how my settings are, if I might need to adjust something, and then I can take the camera and basically start shooting. Whereas with the Canon R6 Mark III, I always need to take the camera to my eye first to check the settings, maybe change them, and only then I can start shooting. A bit more cumbersome, also not a deal breaker to be honest. One feature that the Z6 III has and the R6 Mark III just doesn't is this auto capture, where you can basically turn your camera, your Nikon camera, into a kind of camera trap. So you can set if it should trigger for motion, if it should trigger if something enters in a specific distance, or if it should look out for specific subject types like animals or people, and then automatically start taking pictures. If you want, you can say with autofocus, without autofocus, whichever frame rate you want, and so on. And this can be really cool for some wide angle stuff. I have been testing it out a bit, but I'm still like kind of diving into all the settings because it's quite complex. But if this is something that you think could be interesting for you, and you don't want to buy a separate camera trap or don't want to always set up a separate camera trap, then the Nikon has a clear advantage here. It's available since summer 25. There was a firmware update that introduced these features to the Nikon Z6 III. Finally, the 4th point that is clearly an advantage of the Z6 III is the price. basically they are in a similar range originally, but since the Z6 III has been on the market for 1.5 years longer than the R6 Mark III, it just means that it has also dropped more in the price. And in euros, you can get the Z6 III for around 2,100 euros, whereas the R6 Mark III is around 2,900 euros, which is quite a difference. Now, is the difference worth it? Maybe the R6 Mark III has some cool features that make it worth the extra price. So let's find out and have a closer look at the positive things that I liked about the Canon EOS R6 Mark III. The first thing is the frame rate. So if you use the electronic shutter, you can get up to 40 frames per second with the Canon, whereas the Nikon only offers 20 frames per second. 20 is still plenty fast for, if we go back to herons or storks or some raptors that are just circling in the sky, that's more than enough. However, if you take pictures of maybe already ducks or again swifts, swallows and so on, these extra frames per second really make a difference because you just get more wing positions to choose from in the end. Another and maybe even bigger difference is that the Canon EOS R6 Mark III offers pre-capture in RAW, whereas the Nikon only offers this in JPEG, which meant that for the Nikon I never used it because I want to have RAW files in the end of the day. And that's not possible with the Nikon. With Canon you have half a second of pre-capture with 40 frames per second, so meaning you have 20 extra frames before you actually press the shutter, and this can be really cool if you are waiting for a bird to take off, or sometimes even other things that might happen and you are a bit too slow to react. Like I was taking pictures with my friend Nico of some buzzards, and they were taking out some meat of the carcass of the dead animal, and sometimes the action happened very fast, and then it was very nice to be kind of able to go like a few hundred milliseconds back into the past and still get this best action. To see the next advantage of the Canon R6 Mark III, I needed to take off the lens cap or body cap, and you can see here that the Canon R6 Mark III has the mechanical shutter as kind of a sensor shield, whereas the Z6 III doesn't have this feature. And this means that with the Canon R6 Mark III it's less likely that dust can enter, and especially in wildlife photography where sometimes you need to change lenses in a bit more rough circumstances, this is definitely an advantage of the R6 III. Both of the cameras have a lot of buttons that you can configure to your liking to really set up in the camera in a way that you get the most out of it. However, the Canon R6 Mark III has 3 dials, whereas the Nikon only has 2. And these 3 dials just mean that I can put all my exposure parameters like ISO, shutter speed and aperture on each dial, and this is so much quicker than with the Nikon, where I need to press the ISO button first if I want to change the ISO. And if you maybe shoot in manual mode with automatic ISO, of course you can also use one of the dials on the Canon for exposure compensation instead of shutter speed, but this is quite a big difference, and for me a big advantage of the Canon R6 III. The last advantage of the R6 III that I want to mention is the autofocus. So it's not a huge difference, I want to say this right away. Both systems are really good, especially if you configure them the right way. And here I want to mention my autofocus guides that I wrote for both Nikon Z and Canon EOS R cameras that really help you to set up the autofocus the best way for different situations, and also gives you some recommendations of what you might need to change or look out for if you shoot, for example, in backlit, in very low light situations, or for example if there is heavy snowfall and the autofocus always tends to focus on the snowflakes instead of the subject behind it. I linked them below, so check them out, and there's also a money-back warranty if you're not happy with the ebook. So I managed cool action shots with both cameras, but especially if the bird is a bit smaller in frame, like if you want to do more environmental shots, I feel that the Canon really has the better detection of the subject. So now let's get to the 2 points that are a bit harder to decide who's the winner here. And one important factor is of course the lenses that you can use with the camera. And here I think I would give the advantage to Nikon, especially if we look in the more, well, let's call it mid-range to upper mid-range price segment for telephoto lenses. You have a very nice choice. You have the 180 to 600 millimeter, like the 400 millimeter 4.5, the 600 millimeter 6.3 PF, and a bit higher, even the 800 millimeter 6.3 PF. And basically for all these lenses, there is not a direct equivalent for the Canon, which doesn't mean that the Canon doesn't also have very interesting lenses like the 100 to 500 or the 200 to 800, but I think overall with Nikon you have a bit more choice. And even if we move to the very high end, there is a bit of differences. Like for Canon, I really like the Canon RF 100 to 300 millimeter f2.8. By now it's probably my most used lens, and there is no equivalent to the Nikon. So if this is a focal length that you plan to use a lot, maybe also keep this in mind. However, with the really big primes like the 400 to 8 or 600 millimeter f4, I clearly prefer the Nikon lenses that have this integrated tele-extender. So overall, I would say slight advantage for the Nikon, but it depends a bit for you. Then finally, the image quality. So as mentioned in the beginning, both of them have a full frame sensor. The Nikon has 24 megapixels, the Canon 32 megapixels. Both sensors are not fully stacked. In fact, the Canon sensor is not stacked at all. The Nikon sensor is partially stacked, but in terms of readout speed and rolling shutter effects, they are very comparable, meaning in most situations I don't have issues, but if I'm doing some panning shots with both cameras, you see to pretty much the same degree how in the background the vertical structures kind of start tilting. I wanted to go talk more about the image quality though, and here I would give the edge to the Canon, because with the 32 megapixels we have a bit more resolution, which in bird photography can sometimes be nice for cropping in a bit more, and for me it feels like this 35 megapixel, this range is kind of the sweet spot at the moment, because we still get a very good high ISO image quality, but especially at the lower ISO we get a bit more detail. If we go to the really high ISO, like 12,800, 25,600 ISO, the Nikon image looks a bit cleaner. So again, here it depends a bit how you use your camera. If you say 3200 ISO and below most of the time, for me the Canon is the clear winner. If you really use these low light situations and you push your ISO also to 25,600 or so, then the Nikon might have the slight edge. I hope this video was helpful for you to highlight the advantages of each camera. That being said, I think you can't go wrong with either of them. I linked them below. If you buy over these links, you just support my channel without paying a cent more. So thanks for that. And thanks also for Canon and Nikon for lending me these cameras for more than a month to do this video.